Colin Walker, Head of Transport at the Energy and Climate Intelligence Unit. So the figures are in, and 2025 has been another bumper year for EV sales in the UK. Although you wouldn't think it from some of the narratives being told around the data. So firstly, what are the figures telling us? Well, EVs accounted for almost 1 in 3, 32.2% of the cars sold in December. Bollocks. They weren't sold. And for almost 1 in 4 sales, 23.4% of sales across the whole year. Again, they're still selling them from last year in 2022. EV sales in 2025 were 24% higher than in 2024. Meanwhile, petrol sales fell 8% and diesel sales fell 15.6%. Petrols now account for less than half of the cars sold in the UK, and diesels account for little more than 5%. The end is nigh. What about those petrol engines in hybrids? Also worth noting is that it's not just the Chinese newcomers that have recorded strong increases in EV sales. Ford increased their EV sales by over 200%. They only had one EV the other year. So it doesn't take much, does it? And Renault by 119%. The VW Group manufacturers also recorded strong EV sales growth. FEVs, who Colin thinks are fossil fuels cars in disguise. FEVs also had a strong year, with sales up 34.7%. For me, that's a cause for concern. Well, why? As they have been found to consume 490% more fuel than their manufacturers claim. That's because nobody uses them as electric, you idiot. That means they produce a lot more CO2 and cost a lot more to run than is being advertised. And yet, the chairman of Toyota, who I'm thinking knows a bit more than Colin does about manufacturing vehicles, the chairman of Toyota said that one hybrid is cleaner than 3 EVs. Who are you going to believe? A guy who's never had a proper job in his life, or the chairman of Toyota? As for the narratives, there are a couple that have caught my eye. Firstly, EV sales are only high because manufacturers are having to offer unsustainable discounts to shift them. Well, a couple of points. Manufacturers have always offered discounts to sell their cars. People very rarely pay recommended retail price, RRP. And it's not being mentioned that manufacturers have also been offering discounts to shift the petrol and diesel cars that were sold in 2025. For example, Auto Trader found that in June 2025, the average discount being offered on an EV was 10.4%, and on a non-EV, it was 8.8%. What a load of rubbish. What absolute hogwash. Yes, the discount on the EVs is higher, but not by much. How about £5,000, £6,000 more? And a grant? And cheap electric? And no tax? And salary sacrifice? What about that? Why talk this utter garbage? This guy is the head of the Climate Intelligence Unit. He's the head of transport. I'm assuming that he's a clever guy. How can you come to this conclusion from the information that is readily available out there? Yes, the discount on the EVs is higher, but not by much. In short, if manufacturers are spending a lot to discount EVs, they're also likely to be spending a lot doing the same for petrols. Well, no, they're not, because if they sell one petrol car more than the target, or more than they're allowed to do so that they hit their EV target, it costs them 12 grand. Secondly, at 23.4%, EV sales fell short of the government's 28% EV sales target. But here's the thing, and I sometimes feel as though I'm banging my head against a brick wall in trying to get this point across. Manufacturers didn't have to hit 28% in 2025 to comply with their targets. Flexibilities built into the mandate, which the industry lobbied for, now they lobbied to reduce the electric vehicle target, and they got this, effectively lower the real target that the industry as a whole needs to hit to 20.4%. This means industry comfortably complied with the ZEV mandate for the second year running, even though everybody else said it didn't, and they didn't hit it last year, they didn't hit it this year, but the Climate Intelligence Unit that knows fuck all says they did. In short, another strong year of growth for the UK's EV transition. I sent him a message. Did you happen to see this in the same article? It is manufacturers, therefore, that continue to shoulder the burden of driving up demand, buying sales, subsidising their sale by more than 5 billion in 2025. It's later turned out it's 5.5 billion, equivalent to a massive £11,000 per battery electric vehicle registered. Such subsidies are clearly unsustainable. I got a reply from Kevin Booker, freelance EV consultant, 6-time Guinness World Record holder, podcaster, YEV, IT and fleet specialist. Green Fleet Top 100, whatever that means. That's the thing about averages. They are an average. It's very different if they are subsidising something like a Citroën Ami, although one could argue that's a motorised quadricycle, not a real car, by 11,000 than subsidising a 90,000 iX3 by the same amount. Discounts are not new in the car world. As a fleet buyer, discounts of 15 to 20% are not unusual with ICE, and it's the same with EV. It's not the same with EV. I said you buy one, you get one free. You buy one, you get one free. That's EV prices. If it's a van, a commercial, you buy one, you get two free. You buy one, you get two free. That has never ever happened in the motor trade with petrol vehicles. Never ever. I couldn't even be bothered explaining to him, so I just put behave. Kevin Booker, freelance EV consultant, 6-time world record holder. Now I'm starting to think he's a world record holder for bullshitting. I've not paid retail for a vehicle for 20 years. There are always fleet terms in place. At retail, this is usually positioned as interest-free deals, finance contributions, etc. Which leads me on to something else. There's lots of interest-free finance deals on EVs, and yet the same petrol model in the same range, it's not interest-free. So that's yet another benefit. Thanks for pointing it out. So I replied, I've been in the motor trade for 50 years. So why do you suppose that the SMMT have singled out EVs? To say about the discounting. Why would that be? If it's always been the same, why have the SMMT singled out EVs? Because it's not always been the same. You know it, I know it, everybody knows it that's in the motor trade. The only people that don't know it are the people on the outside trying to tell the motor trade what to do. So I sent this as well. Also, please could you tell me how many low-emission ICE vehicle registrations have been included in the calculation where you claim that the UK is on track to hit the ZEV mandate? Thanks in advance. Now I've been told the thumb is passive-aggressive. You know, thumbs up, it's passive-aggressive. Before I was told that it was passive-aggressive, I just used to do a thumbs up, not knowing anything about it. That thumb is passive-aggressive. Barry Crampton, you must have missed this on your LinkedIn, Twitter and email. So I'm politely asking again, especially as the SMMT says we are nearly twice as far away from hitting the mandate with BEVs than we were last year. I would really like to see your workings out, as I know that the SMMT can suffer from misplacing the odd decimal point too, where they've misreported things in the past, and they've also done a couple of things that are a little bit shady really for a body. Thanks in advance. I've also asked the ECIU Direct, George Smeaton, who is the email address on the ECIU website, but no reply. PS, you may want to change your Twitter claim that you can save £1,600 a day if you buy an EV, especially when you are always trying to get retractions from other people and then shoving it down everybody's throat. So this makes you look like a bit of a hypocrite. I mean, £1,600 a year was funny, but £1,600 a day? I think, to be fair, you should also do the decent thing and print a retraction. It's not a good look for you. No. Also, please could you tell me how many low-emission ICE vehicle registrations have been included in the calculation where you claim the UK is on track to hit the ZEV mandate? Thanks in advance. All rubbish. Absolutely all rubbish. But there's no comeback for them. There's no comeback. They can tell you. They can tell you this stuff. Nothing. It's just all wrong. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.